his assistant who approaches the desk reminding him he still needs to sign the duty officer confirmation papers. Her voice slowly pulls him from his slumber. Rubbing his tired eyes, he acknowledges her return from patrol. But Professor Khalid just casually weighs it off, claiming he remembers greeting her before she left. She's forced to remind him that Vice Principal Rachel was the one who said she'd be staying in the tricked building all night. This makes him reflect on how she once trembled at the mere sight of a low-ranking enemy soldier. That's when his assistant's eyes land on a document on the study table, and she asks what it is. He explains they're from the living quarters, confidently claiming he's already checked them. At that, his assistant finally loses the last shred of her patience. Yet before their argument can truly escalate, the duty room door swings open. The professor slowly crosses his arms, staring at their unexpected visitor. It's a woman named Lortell, standing completely drenched from the storm. Calmly, Lortell explains she came to see if Vice Principal Rachel was in the duty room, and despite being soaked to the bone, she remains unnervingly calm and composed. That's when Lortell begins her report. Professor Khalid, for his part, explains that he's never been one to blindly trust what's written on paper, though his assistant silently suspects he ignored the reports for a much simpler reason. And that is precisely why she decided to act before things could reach that point. Suddenly, Khalid's full attention is captured, his curiosity piqued by the mention of that young man with the lifeless, emotionless eyes. Because of those very eyes, he'd once wanted to personally teach the boy high-level magic. But the professor pays her no mind, his focus entirely on Lortell. Instead, he walks directly toward Lortell, stopping right in front of her. He wants to know exactly what kind of crime they're trying to frame Ed for. Then he pops open his special drink and takes a long, relaxed sip. In response, Lortell just falls silent, watching him. That's when he jokingly suggests Ed must have been busy lately, because of a relationship. He then plows ahead, making increasingly embarrassing assumptions about Lortell and Ed's connection. With him out of the way, the assistant advises Lortell not to meet Vice Principal Rachel, explaining she already despises the elite trading company. When Lortell doesn't answer, the assistant softly calls out her name. Elsewhere, in a quiet moment amidst the chaos, Clevius rests his head on Elvira's lap. Elvira simply gazes out at the rain, quietly watching over him. His entire body is a canvas of painful injuries, each breath a struggle. And yet even now, Ziggs's thoughts are not on himself. Back on the upper floors, the once peaceful halls have been transformed into a maelstrom. Enormous dragon spirits soar through the air as others attack from all sides. One devastating slash connects, striking a high-ranking fire dragon spirit and leaving a deep wound across its body. But it immediately launches a fierce counterattack, forcing Tali to raise his sword in defense with another Sword Saint-style technique. This is the same terrifying technique that was originally meant to defeat the high-ranking spirit Tokon in the first act. Still, he unleashes an overwhelming slash that tears through the battlefield, cutting down spirit after spirit. Through it all, Tali can't understand why anyone would go this far for a man like Ed. But he is not the only one on this battlefield. Another figure stands quietly, waiting for the right moment to strike. She wields a legendary staff crafted from the branch of a 1,000-year-old tree struck by lightning, granting it extraordinary resonance with spirits. Though Tali's breathing is ragged and his body is screaming, he refuses to slow his pace. But even if his words are true, she insists his conclusions make absolutely no sense. That's when Ed tells her he already saw what she left behind on his way here. He motions to a large tree standing nearby, a message carved deep into its trunk. Following his gaze, Eula turns her attention to the tree, finally seeing the writing for herself. She can't comprehend how he can remain so calm while talking about something so impossible, because Yannicka was there. The more she thinks about it, the more insane Ed's plan sounds, and she can't hold back any longer. And yet, Ed's own expression is filled with a deep, burning frustration. He's willing to accept all the blame, all the hatred. But there's one thing that truly infuriates him. But he still has strength left to fight, and as long as he can stand, he will not give up. With a surge of renewed determination, he raises his sword and charges back into the fray, straight for the terrifying fire dragon. He gathers every last remnant of his strength to unleash one of the most powerful techniques in the Sword Saint style. A legendary attack said to be capable of severing anything that possesses a physical form. And then, his legs finally give out and he collapses to the ground, utterly spent. Even Tokon has to admit it was fortunate that Tali had so completely exhausted himself. He approaches Gennika, informing her that everything is finally over. Gennika simply agrees. But just as she takes her first step, An unexpected voice echoes from behind her. Instantly, the atmosphere becomes incredibly oppressive, making it almost impossible to move. And in a single, overwhelming attack, he unleashes a devastating slash that sweeps across everything in its path. The sheer power of it obliterates everything before him. Every muscle screams in protest, his exhausted body begging him to stop. The heavy rain soaks him to the bone, water streaking down his face. But there is no turning back now. Stumbling between the trees, Taylor's eyes catch on something strange. He slowly approaches, his gaze fixed on the words carved there. Whoever left this trail deliberately guided him deep into the forest, but Taylor doesn't hesitate.